So the other day, I accomplished a goal.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah, you did.
And it was a goal that not many people knew about. About a year ago, I was working through a new journal that Stephen had gotten me, and it came with videos. And so within the video, it said, close your eyes. Imagine you 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you? What are you doing? What is kind of your happy place? Okay, now what do you do for a living? And it was at that moment that I just had a gut feeling about, I was like, I'm public speaking.
Perfect.
Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alana Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Stephen, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Stephen Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alana, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now. You're public speaking.
I'm public speaking, not just on the podcast. The podcast wasn't in that.
No.
The podcast just happened. And it wasn't my Instagram. It was public speaking on a stage for whatever reason. And really, I had never really seen that before. I never felt that kind of tug. So that was a year ago. I wrote it all down, told Stephen about it, told a couple of my other very close friends about it, really held it close to the chest. And it continued to come up every once in a while.
Yeah, and I think it's something that you first said it, and I think it was like, oh yeah, you could definitely do that. And it's one of those things where I feel like your goals in life, no matter how old you are, they manifest through your they manifest through your actions, or they manifest through your actions and what you're doing, because like you being Capitol Hill president, you playing these things, so you always maybe had the public speaking like lingering in you, but It was not until then do you realize, dude, that needs to be a goal of mine.
Yeah. And it was one of those goals that scared me to death. And that's when a goal scares you to death.
That's it.
That's when you know it's the one. That's when you know it's if you are not totally terrified.
You gotta be terrified
by the goal that you think of. That's not it.
That's not it.
It's
you should
too
be terrified. It's too easy.
It's too easy. And pretty soon after that, I had talked to a local Shelby County staff member about something that I could provide to their females. Mm-hmm. And because of my assault story, it's just like this beautiful imagery that I would be able to provide. Well, it just didn't work out. There were some other things that came into play. There was a bunch of, that was right at the time that racism hit heavy. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all of that was really heavy. And
we were still dealing with COVID.
And yeah, they were all virtual, which I was going to do it virtually. So it wasn't really on stage like I was thinking, but I was like, this is a great stepping stone. So then, the racism really hit heavy, and we just were like, not really the time. Well, now let's fast forward, and the person that was my connection left Shelby County. So yes. I had no connection left. And I was like, okay, like, God, what are you trying to show me?
Yeah, I think it's some of the frustration that you hit too is just like felt like you were kind of spinning your wheels like, yeah, this is my goal, but like the connection that I was really leaning towards that could put me in a very good position and platform, they're now gone. And yeah. I'm getting glimpses of little bit of things. So like, for instance, your own Saint team was growing. That was becoming kind of a platform
exponentially growing. Yeah.
Your social media was growing. You could have easily did small groups if you wanted to. So you had these like kind of crumbs leading to something.
Yeah.
But the key is, which I thought was very important that you said this other day, you walked past the crumbs a few times. And you didn't appreciate the crumbs. But then you came back and realized these crumbs are still new. They still bring me nutrition, so let me come back and eat those. I.e., let me pour into my Saint team.
Yeah.
Let me use my platform of 2,000 plus people. And that's when it hit me. I'm like,
Yeah, so that wasn't until, it was January, and I don't even know what happened, but I was like, what am I doing? Why am I waiting for somebody
you
to
were
call
walking
me?
past the crumbs, and you were just like, what? Like,
And then
yeah,
I was like, that crumb tastes too good. I think
Exactly.
I think that's a blueberry scone. I'm
it's a
gonna
blueberry
eat
scone.
that
Let me eat that right quick.
Shoot, it could have been like an almond cranberry scone, like they have at a bell tower.
And technically, you did walk past you walked past it a couple times, Alana.
I walked past a lot of scones.
Yeah.
So it was because I was counting calories.
No,
I'm just
you
kidding.
were.
No, I just was like, that's not the goal.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not it. That's
Wasn't
not
it?
what I had in mind.
Nope.
But you don't get to the goal that I have for 5 years from now 4 years from now, without eating the crumbs.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just show up. And Steve Harvey has this amazing motivational video about
Okay.
how he told $5 jokes. It's like, I can't remember how much it is. But he said, I told these $15 jokes, $5 jokes. And people laughed. $15 a night jokes.
Yeah.
I'm telling the same $15 jokes, but I'm getting paid $5,000 a joke now.
Yeah.
He's doing the same ones, but it's because he didn't stop showing up for the $15.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that he could get to the 5,000 or whatever the numbers are. And you can just, you can look it up on YouTube. But there was something that I was like, what am I doing? And there were some nuggets kind of along the way of me kind of branching out of my shell, talking about anxiety and depression on my feed. But I was like, but I love live video. I love live video, and that's something that makes me so passionate is live video, live talking to you guys. And we started doing it together, and I was like, but why am I not doing this by myself? Why am I not talking about...
So it wasn't good enough?
No, but like
No, I'm
there
just
are
playing.
things that just I can talk about,
To your audience.
and then
Exactly.
there's
Yeah.
so much other value that comes when both of us are behind a mic
No, for
or in
sure.
front of a camera. And it's different value points.
Oh, yeah.
And there's different connection points. And I was like, what am I doing? So I decided, I think it was January. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. But I was like, forget it. I'm going to do Hump Day Happenings. I was sitting on the couch and busted out a graphic. And Steve goes, when did you do that? I said, right now. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
But it was exactly my vibe. It was exactly, what I was going for. And so then my first Hump Day Happenings, I just did a makeup tutorial because I was nervous. And
But let's rewind. You had the reality check. I think we were sitting in bed, and you were like, Steven, close your eyes. I closed my eyes. She's like, imagine yourself sitting in an auditorium or a small arena and talking to 2,000 people. I was like, yeah, that would be awesome. She's like, well, I have that right now on my social media, and I'm not utilizing it. Anywhere else, 2,000
Right.
people is a lot.
Yeah.
And you were just like, man, it's just...
right, you just don't think about the number
Yeah.
of followers that you have.
Exactly.
And like had I started my Instagram when I was in college, it'd be massive.
Yeah.
So I think that is a limiting factor to some of these younger peeps is that they have so many followers because they are younger and because it is so prominent. And I'm like, right, but if you have a message that you have on your heart that you need to be sharing, or you have messages, then what is holding you back from pressing play?
Yeah.
You don't have to save them.
No.
It could just be live right then. You don't have to put it to an IGTV. For me, Hump Day Happenings are super valuable, and they're more valuable to me than they are to any viewer.
Yeah.
Because it's me working through what I'm working through. What I do on those Hump Day Happenings every Wednesday, I try to do them at 1, is process something that happened during the week. So they're not pre-scheduled usually, like about what I'm going to talk about. It's like, what's going to hit me?
Yeah.
I'm like, let's talk through it. Let's
And
figure
that's what
this
makes
out.
it so authentic, and it makes it so... I think is why people also look forward to and drive towards it, because they know that it's something that's not rehearsed, it's not planned, it's something that has happened to you personally, and you're able to bring that to their living room, and they embrace that.
So then fast forward to a couple weeks ago, I got asked to speak at chapel. And It's the place that I used to work at. And at first I was so excited. I was so excited. I was listening to a song called Excavate by Macklemore. I was at the gym and I texted him and I was like, oh my gosh, I just got asked to do chapel. And he goes, that's so good. And he's trying to be super supportive, super excited. I'm like rattling off what I'm going to talk about. It's the same day we went to go get our first COVID shot. So...
And she was on fire.
I was just like, I had it. It was
had
like,
it.
there are some times when you get an idea and it's coming out faster than you can process.
Yeah.
And then Steven said something about how they also asked him. And here's the thing. Steven and I have very similar skill sets.
We do.
And you guys get to hear the beauty of us having similar skill sets.
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful picture.
It is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
But there's a lot of tension sometimes. I have, in that moment in the car,
Oh,
I
yes.
had unnecessary competition with my husband.
Yes, and I'm appreciative of you telling the quote unquote ugly side of getting to a goal.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
real.
this is
So
raw.
we're in the car, and I'm like, literally, you guys know when somebody gets going on an idea, they're like,
You're rolling.
and like jumping on all different things. And then I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about. And he's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And like the idea hadn't come to paper yet. It was just in my head, which is never a good place to start. Never.
Yeah.
Like if it's not written down somewhere and like with bullets and tabs and all that, would go back.
Yeah.
But then Steven was giving me feedback, and I got mad.
Yeah.
And a couple reasons. One, when my ideas are flowing, I'm very poor at details.
Yeah,
I leave out
yeah.
massive amounts of information.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you don't understand?
Yeah,
and it's massive.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that makes total sense. And you're like,
Yeah, babe.
you didn't unfold that. No, it's not a yeah, baby. It's like, no, okay. Have you thought about adding in? And I took it as a direct hit of you're not good enough. You can't get to this goal without my help. And that's not what Steven was trying to say.
No,
But it did parallel back to in college when Steven tried to help me get an internship in New York City. So it was very, like for me, it was a very similar,
yeah.
I can do this ish on my own, bruh.
Yeah.
Back off. That's like, that's very much my nature. Of don't step on my parade. I've got it.
And
Get
the
out my way.
parade was flowing that day.
Right.
You were, yeah.
Right.
The
Like,
band was out. It was
I don't
going.
need you to make my dream come true.
No.
And that was not Steven's intention. So then as a couple, we had to pause. I literally had to get out of the car and be like, we are fine. I need to process this.
Yeah.
But like, I think that as specifically with couples that have similar interests, or when somebody is so excited that they can nearly taste their goal and there's even an ounce of it taken away, it's just like when you have a new idea.
Yeah.
That's your baby.
It's your baby.
That is your baby. And it's the best idea you've ever had.
Yeah.
Even if it's for like Velcro and Velcro already exists. It's the best
the
idea
best
you've
one.
ever had.
I don't care what anybody says.
It's the best
one.
idea.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Phil Dunphy on Modern Family.
Yes,
He
the
had
head
some
scratcher.
awful ideas. A head scratcher. But that's when you only tell very few people about your idea. Because as soon as Steven started to come into my idea, it was like fangs came out. I clearly had poison, as well as fire came out of my mouth straight at him. Hair on my back, if you can see a cat, like getting ready to fight.
Yeah.
I was Maple barking at the FedEx guy. Maple's our dog. It was just like if my eyeballs could turn red at that moment, they would have.
Then poof. Yes.
But it was my baby.
It's your baby.
And my baby was like in utero.
Yeah.
She
And
hadn't even come out
she
yet.
didn't come out yet.
But like you guys, that's sacred time. So if you are not ready for your baby to get poked and prodded at, or maybe to see the other side of it, it's not time. And I feel like that it's also critical to know it's okay to walk away from the conversation right then.
It's definitely okay to walk away from it, but let's bring this back because we're talking about people accomplishing their goals, and let's walk through the scenario with me and you where I was, in my opinion, I was wanting to help you accomplish that goal, and so when you say that they asked me, and I know how passionate you were about this, my mind was like, give this to Alana. But in your mind, how did you process that?
Why did they ask you first? Why is Steven better than me? I know that he's done more speaking engagements than me, but why did they want him over me? Why am I less valuable than him? It was all of these abandonment issues that don't have anything to do with Steven.
Yeah.
Why don't I get the accolades? If I got the accolades, then I would get more attention. If I got more attention, then I'd be able to hit my goal sooner. And really, it's Steven's fault because he just keeps getting in my way because he's a really good speaker.
Yeah.
And now he's trying to help me with my speech, and I haven't even figured it out yet. I'm just trying to give him an idea about this dollar bill and an envelope and Macklemore and Excavate, and I really thought it was a great idea, but I haven't written it down yet. Why is he in my way? And now he's telling me that I'm not even good enough. I'm not even as good as him, and he's giving me feedback, and I haven't even figured it out yet. Yeah. That's the process of a female right there.
Whoa.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, and then this dates back to when I was in college and he was trying to give me my internship, and he told me that I couldn't get my internship without his help. And now I guess I can't do anything without him. Little does he know that he needs me to be able to do this podcast. He needs me to be able to actually do blah, 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 blah. Literally, that's how fast a woman's brain functions when she feels like somebody's coming into her room. And I don't know how men function, but I would think that maybe it's similar, just a little slower.
A little bit more, I guess. It's definitely a little bit slower. It's definitely a little bit slower on that standpoint.
But my ability to still reiterate everything I was thinking tells you how raw those emotions were.
Yeah.
And if your baby is
your
being
goal.
brought to the light,
Yes.
your goal is being brought to the light, and you're talking to somebody and you start to do that, you start to derail and question your value in your own authenticity.
And you're questioning their actions too.
Right.
Yeah.
Did Steven ever say, well, I've done this more than you? No. I know what I'm doing. I've already been a public speaker before. No. Absolutely not. He's never done it. I've already been asked to be in chapel, which what it felt like was, well, I did get asked first, so let me give you the feedback because clearly they wanted me more. But that's not what he said. It wasn't anywhere near what he said. But if we don't ask those questions about what are you talking about? Well, if we don't pause, get our brain together, I had to live in my shame for just a second.
Yeah.
I had to process my own shame so that I could kind of pull myself out and be like, is that really what he was saying? Or was he saying, I'd love to help.
Yeah.
Let's hit your goal together. I'm proud of you. Did you know that I sell makeup? Not only do I sell makeup, but the makeup that I sell is 3D makeup, which allows you to highlight and contour your face in a super simple compact. As a mom, I could not survive without my simplified routine. Not only that, but it's exactly what you need. Exactly when you need it, all in one spot. Go ahead and check out Alana Mizell on Instagram or alanamizell.com to learn more.
Yeah.
Really, it was the second, but I needed a couple hours.
And
that's okay.
Yeah. And then we fast forward. So now the goal is.
But I also want to say that couple hours looks like it's not your fault. I need to process. I will call you when I'm ready.
Yeah.
So Steven wasn't left with, you're a screw up.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh. He wasn't left in his own shame that he has, his rejection shame that he's struggling with, his value shame, his, all of his stuff. Mm-hmm. But that is so important to be able to say, not you, need to process, give me time. And then what? Like, are you coming back to me? Am I coming back to you? What are we doing there?
Yeah.
And I had to tell him, I'll come to you.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a time for you to come to me.
No. And so you were able to come to me, and we had we talked it through, and then I think another thing is that you get your goal, you hear the opportunity, you got to protect the goal, and you have some people that come into the goal and they try to help out, and you have to work through what we just said. But I also think this next phase is even scarier. You went through the process of the goal is there, it is coming. But then you kind of ignored the goal until like 2 days before. like in my opinion, but it's like we didn't talk about. We knew the date was coming.
You
but
and I didn't talk about
that's okay. You and I talk. You and I didn't talk
Right.
about it, and it's kind of like just there, and it's like you're working. You're like a duck, and your feet are moving underneath, but you don't. You're kind of just floating along.
You know, see, they look real graceful.
Yes.
That actually, a duck is a beautiful imagery because a duck is on water and they're just like floating by. They
It looks so
graceful,
peaceful
and they're
yeah.
just like, but really underneath the water, their feet are going
Very fast,
super fast,
super fast.
super fast.
And so with me, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was kind of nervous. I was like, man, she hasn't brought this up. This is a big deal.
But the
Like-
reason that I hadn't brought it up is because I wasn't ready and to the point where I could accept feedback from Steven. Not that I didn't want it,
Okay.
but I knew that I had to have my heart and my head in a certain place so that I could ask questions where I wanted questions to be answered. And then I needed to wait until I really could openly accept and see Steven's point of view. Because I had to be able to have empathy for what he was talking about and compassion for where he was coming from for his feedback to be as effective as it could be.
Okay.
And if I hadn't talked to Steven and had talked to somebody else, my first speaking engagement on a stage would not have been as impactful. Because the most valuable public speaker that knows me in my heart is Steven. It is Steven. And I think so many times we are quick to push away a mentor because they're too close for comfort. But my greatest mentor happens to live in the same house as me.
Oh, girl, man, I didn't bring no Kleenex to the table, right? Goodness gracious.
But like,
Yeah.
there are so many people that, I mean, even in your office, you know, you don't want to ask the person that's your boss to mentor you more in maybe this other area that maybe is your biggest weakness because it makes you vulnerable and it makes you exposed. But then what happens if that boss takes a new job
Yeah.
and you haven't grown in your weakness?
And you had the opportunity to.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to be able to grow in my weakness and ask the guy who's done it before, who's not only spoken on stage, but spoken to students. That's a different ballgame.
It is.
And I honestly didn't think about the fact that I was speaking to students until somebody said, literally the morning of, she goes, oh, wow, middle school and high schoolers? Dang. I was like, huh, okay.
Reality check.
Well, I wasn't nervous till now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you guys, I didn't even go through my speech with Steven until the night before.
Night before, and it was, and again, as you guys know, we live a very.
I did show you the slides before.
You told me times before,
And I showed you my notes, which made no sense to anybody.
Yeah, I saw the notes that you sent to the person over chapel, and then
Yeah.
I saw the slides. And so, as you guys know, we stay pretty busy. So Alana's speaking engagement was yesterday at 9:30
a.m.
And so on Monday, you know, we have things going on. We have football practice, get home around 6:15, 6:30-ish. The kids come to practice, you know, sometimes, or they want to stay up until daddy can put them to bed, help mom and dad put them to bed. But then Alana has a party at 7 o'clock for her.
No, I had a meeting.
Had a meeting at 7 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh, when I have Briggs on Mondays.
Had Briggs all day. And Briggs
All day.
was on one. And so we are trying to put them to sleep, squeeze a 20-minute conversation about this before it's time. Oh, but wait a minute. Briggs now is in this phase of getting up out of his bed and wants
Right.
to come and
I'm
yell.
literally talking to Steven. I said, hey, I got 3 minutes. What do you think about this? And he goes, 3 minutes?
3 minutes. And
Can
Briggs
we
is
talk
like,
about it
"Ah!"
after? I was like, yeah, I might be a little tired by then. And he's like, okay.
Yeah. And so then Alana,
I think you got it.
Alana kills her meeting. And then we have our first healthy discussion about her her goal and her speech. And I think the beautiful thing about that is that she was able to process all of that. And she looked me in the eye. She's like, well, do you think this is right? Or should I pull this back? And she got my feedback. And she's like, yeah, I was thinking that too. So it was when two beautiful minds come together, especially something we're so passionate about, it's a great thing. And so we were able to walk through the speech. We were able to go through her slides. And it was a great feeling. And so fast forward to the next day, you know, we are here.
Well, and mind you, Steven really thought about the goal that I had. I did not.
Oh, yeah, I thought about the goal. I was like,
I did not, because I was rationalizing that it was at the place that I used to work at.
so you watered down your
So,
goal?
I watered it down like it was barely juicy juice.
Oh.
Big time. So I made it.
I saw it though, people.
I made it as if it was like no big deal. Like it's fine. Don't worry about it. And I don't know if it's because I had to do that or like to get through it, or if it was because I was limiting myself in the accolades that I want to achieve. So I hit the first step of a massive goal that I have. But you guys, if you don't acknowledge the first step,
Yes.
you will never get to the last
Yes.
one. Every little thing that happens is intentional. And I'll tell you this, I wasn't ready to do that a year ago.
No.
My personal mental and emotional development in the last 8 months is astonishing.
Yeah.
And like, I don't mean to
And I
brag on
think
myself, but I've done a whole lot of mental work. And I just wouldn't have been ready.
No, and I agree with that. But I think I agree with that. And you also, as we've talked earlier, when you have those people in your circle talking through your goals, and you get the, like I said, open to feedback, but you also have to have those people that will give you that beautiful reality check. Like, dude, this is a big deal. And so
Yeah.
I constantly wanted to remind Alana not to water it down, but like I was really proud of.
He was
this
freaking
opportunity.
out.
Yeah,
I
I
was
was.
cool as a cucumber. I was the
You-
duck on the top. He was the feet on the
I was
bottom.
a feed. And dude, the day of, I'm like at work, and I'm like texting her like, "Hey,
How you
how's it
doing?"
going?"
And I literally said, "Well, I don't have on clothes yet, and I need to leave in 10 minutes." And I'm
And
sure
I hadn't
he was
eaten
like,
breakfast, and I was like, oh,
"He's like, what? She's
man."
about to get on a stage and pass out."
Yes, I was a little, I was nervous about it, but deep
But-
down inside, I knew you were ready for it.
But also, whereas I could have looked at it as, it's just where I used to work, which is how I was looking at it. Actually, this just came to me. What if I look at it as a beautiful gift from God that it allowed me to just focus on my speech and my speaking engagement and not have to focus on what type of audience I was getting, because I was already so in tuned with who the audience was.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that's for a person who wants to become a public speaker at the level that I have a goal for. To say my first one was in a group of people. I mean, I knew a third,
Yeah, third.
maybe.
Yeah.
I knew all of the adults in the room. I knew probably a third of the people that were there. What a beautiful gift. And I didn't have to invite any of them.
Yeah,
It wasn't like I was like, "Hey, can you come to this? I really need some support. Hey, can you come? Hey,
Yeah.
by the way, I need you to be in a really weird outfit so that I can stare at you and it be fine."
Yeah.
I didn't have
And
to do
on
any
top of that, guys, I couldn't be at the event.
because it was at a high school.
As at a high school with high school students and me working for a college program. Can't do
Time
that.
out. Let's brag on Steven. This guy shows up after the speech, ready to go with flowers.
Had to.
Had to.
Had
So
to.
then the Bible class sees him bring me flowers. And the teacher goes, "Guys, look out the window. That's how it's done."
Well,
And all the
then.
ladies are like, "Oh," like it was a Disney movie.
Well, yeah.
And one of the reason I know this is because a student messaged me after and said that. But
Yeah, and so to wrap all this up, I want to be able
wait,
to.
the other thing I want to say
Yeah.
is it was a huge day for me. And I'm so grateful that people wanted to watch it. But also it was so important to me that I took that day and just stayed on cloud nine.
That's what I was going to say.
I just stayed there. And there were a few text messages that I got that were just not fruitful for the day. And I'm going to be honest, I just ignored them. And it wasn't from a place of malice that I ignored them, but it was just like, no, this day's going to be sacred for me.
Celebrate your goals.
Yeah.
Celebrate the steps. Celebrate your fact that you accomplished it. And Alana could have definitely taken it like, yeah, I did it, but it was at this school and I knew everybody, and and it was no. You set a goal and you wanted to go into public speaking, and
Yeah.
you got your first speaking engagement underneath your belt, and it was a very impactful thing. And so my biggest thing for the whole flower thing is I wanted her to see how important I felt it was, but also I knew I wanted her to be able to soak it in and stay on cloud nine. And so many times in life we get so bogged down with, oh, I did it, on to the next going. No, you have to.
Yeah, you gotta celebrate it. You gotta commemorate it.
Yes.
So what did I do today, Steven, to commemorate it? Your girl went and got a facial.
Oh, she did go to facial. She
Right.
did.
I mean, I
thought that was like
scheduled.
your birthday, though.
I mean, my birthday is next week, so
but you did
it
say-
works
yeah.
out well. But you know, I was like, no, I'm gonna do a self-care thing to commemorate my first speaking engagement. And like, one of my mentors also talks a lot about how if you have a big goal, put a reward for yourself there. It's not like, okay, but all the crumbs, right? Now you get to eat the piece of cake, but something that you won't buy yourself or won't really do for yourself until you get there.
Yeah.
Until you get there. But then when you get there, you have to fulfill your promise to yourself.
Yeah.
And that can be something as simple as going to get a pedicure by yourself, or it can be as big as buying yourself a Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
Like, you pick the goal, you pick the prize. But you have to acknowledge it for sure.
You have to acknowledge it. And I think that was very, very important. And so, before we sign off, I want to ask you this question. You got your first speaking engagement. You got the goal. So what's next?
One of the goals.
One of the goals.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I would love to do more.
But now you have video of more. You can show people what you're about.
I do have a video of it.
Yes.
I do have a video of it.
You have sound
I
bites.
did not realize that half of me gets cut off half of the time. I didn't realize how small the camera was.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
But you can still take the clip and put a picture of yourself and cut it into a nice little video if you wanted to.
I could totally do that.
Yeah.
I would love to do more of them. I have so many ideas. Even this morning I was at the gym and I gave Steven some ideas about all of just kind of like, okay, but like fine tuning. I'm blessed that Saint has brought me so much knowledge about branding yourself and kind of creating who you are so that people understand you. And that also has to be taken into me as a public speaker. Like, who is Alana? What is my identifying factor? Other than being a female, other than being a believer, also being in an interracial marriage, their anxiety, depression, but like all of that, like, let's sum it up and kind of figure that out. That's where we're going now, is just figuring that out. And
you're also, just thought about this one, you get to keep doing some amazing dress rehearsals with Home Day Happenings.
I do.
You get to
I actually did one
continue-
today.
You get to continue to craft and build knowledge and content. And again, it goes back to like, you have to enjoy the goal that you've reached and enjoy it and embrace it, but also take advantage of the dress rehearsals.
Yeah.
So many times we forget that we have some awesome dress rehearsals that we can go to and talk to and do to help fine tune yourself to that next goal.
Right. Or you think that you have accomplished goal A, so goal B is just going to come. Let me tell you what the next one needs to look like. It needs to look just like that duck. You're skating on the water, but your feet are like running. Just like as soon as they hit the ground, just keep going. So what did I do today? I woke up. I took care of myself. I did the thing. I celebrated. Well, I worked first. Then I celebrated. Then I did another speaking engagement on my Home Day Happenings.
Yep.
Something else that I really wanted to talk about. But you guys, I already know 2 more speaking engagements, 2 more topic speeches that I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. Steven and I joke, I could literally give a 25-minute speech on the dollar.
Yeah.
And that sounds weird, but I want to do it. So whoever wants me to talk for 25 minutes on how you are more like the dollar than you realize, just call us.
Did you just put a commercial in the end
Yeah,
of our
I
podcast?
did.
You
Yeah, I
definitely
did.
You
I put it in there
in there.
because it's going to be a bomb speech, whoever asked me to do it.
It will be a bomb speech.
It's bomb.
So, there you go. If you're listening,
Who's that?
what's up?
But I'm saving it.
Gotta be
I'm saving it for an in-person. I did a little snippet on a home
It
day
has to
happenings.
be in person.
It's an in person.
Yeah.
It's an in person.
But it also has to be the right audience. You gotta make
It
sure it's
does.
right. Yeah, good fit.
It has to be in a very intelligent audience.
All right. Mizell Show.
There we go. Goal achieved.
Goal
Just
achieved.
be like a duck. Graceful on the
Grace
top.
on top.
Feet running.
Feet running. I appreciate you.
I love you.
Love you.
So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizellshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at The Mizell Show.